Agentic AI development tools have become so good over the past year, to a point that I even wanted to talk about it. I wanted to do some YouTube videos for a while, but nothing was exciting me that much. But not only the AI models themselves got better, but also the tools around them multiplied. Now there are a lot of available tools that do different things on different parts of the development lifecycle. And I wanted to go through all of them. I wanted to learn what is out there. And this video is an idea of compiling all of these tools, or a bunch of these tools, and presenting to you. If you like this type of video, let a comment down below, say what you want to see, what types of tools you want me to review, and subscribe to the channel if you like the video. So yeah, thank you so much. Let's jump into that. You might be already using AI in your day-to-day job as a developer. A lot of people start with AI using these conversational tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, or Claude. And you can use this for programming as well. I recently used Gemini to generate a TCP proxy in Go that I didn't want to go through all the low-level details of a TCP proxy, exception loops and whatnot. And I just asked Gemini and it generated good enough code for me. But for any project that is slightly more complex, it's not a matter of just giving an input and getting the output back. The AI needs to be able to do other things like search documentation, run commands, run the tests, run stuff. So this is where the agent part of agentic AI tools that I was talking about comes into play. And I think in the agentic part, there are three main types of tools that are, for these same providers, they created some sort of like CLI. So Claude Code, the Codex CLI, or Gemini CLI. These are great tools to have in your computer, and you can just open a terminal and pair program with that. There's also Quen Code. There are the editor plugins. They're kind of like similar to the CLI, just integrated. So either a full stack IDE, like a complete IDE, or some tools that integrate to existing IDEs like Juni, Zed, or whatever. So these are pretty much the same type of thing where they help you program, they pair program with you. And then there's the background agents that are coming in. There's Devin, there's Jules from Google. Codex also has the Codex background job. And these are agents that you send them a task and they do everything in their own machines in the background, and then they give you like a pull request. But what I want to talk about here today are what I call the 0 to 1, or like the prototype kings of AI agents. So I compiled a bunch of different tools. Like the most known are likely V0 by Vercel, Lovable, Bolt.new. There's a bunch of others that I'm going to go through. And these are great tools to bootstrap and create a project from scratch. You just send them a prompt and it's going to set up everything from scratch. So you can go from idea to working prototype really, really quickly. And there are some new entrants to this that I think they have an edge on giving you a nicely architected software, not just some, nice looking AI. So the way that this video is going to be structured is that I selected a few of these tools, and with the help of ChatGPT, I crafted some prompts for a project that I'm going to use with all of them. So I wanted a project that was on a domain that was easy for others to understand, and that had enough complexity that we can evolve with different types of requirements to see how much of an actual complex enough project can these tools do. So the project that we're going to be doing is a reimbursement expense management system for organizations. So the idea is that you create an organization, you create categories and say, hey, these are the expense policies. You can spend that much money on this type of category, and there's some kind of like review to submit an expense. It is approved automatically for reimbursement, or it is going through a review process or something. And yeah, so I created this initial prompt. I have some other prompts that I want to maybe do as a follow-up. It's going to depend on how well the tool does in the beginning with the initial prompt. Things like integrating with AI tools to do like OCR and categorization of the receipts, for example, or a more complex policy engine. I'm gonna go through each of these tools and I'm gonna send them the initial prompt, see how that goes, and maybe I'm gonna try to do 2, 3, and 4 as a follow-up. But before we go into that, I'm just gonna present the tools and I'm gonna give you my expectation on what I think this tool is gonna be good at, what it's gonna be bad at, and then in the end, we're gonna see if my expectations were correct, because sometimes we can be surprised by how a tool performs. So let's go one by one. So V0 is probably one of the first tools that came out doing that from Vercel. And I've used quite extensively since it launched. In the beginning it was quite bad. Now I think it's usable. I use it a lot for small tools. I don't expect it to be great on the domain logic backend kind of things. But I don't know, I might be surprised. So I think it's gonna do a great job on UI generation, but not as much as on the, building the backend. Maybe I'm gonna have to integrate with something like Supabase or something else to help on that. Lovable, I think, is gonna do pretty similar to V0. I think it's a great tool to generate UI. I don't think it's gonna do a great job on the backend. I don't think it's even meant for the backend part. My personal opinion is that the UI looks nicer on Lovable than on V0, but this is mostly like a personal preference. But I think it's gonna do around the same type of job as V0. Bolt is also a really well-known vibe coding tool. It's more generic than Lovable and V0. It can do view, it can do other things, which I think comes with upsides and downsides. I think the upsides are we can likely also have it generate the backend and other parts of the application more easily. But at the same time, we might need to, take a little bit more care and guide it through how we want it implemented. While V0 and Lovable have kind of like a framework behind it, where V0 is a Next.js application. There's a bunch of like abstractions on top of that. I think both's gonna be more on the loose, so we might generate a less organized code. I'm not sure, but I think it's gonna do a better job on the back end. But I think it's gonna require a little bit more tuning, not just sending a prompt and get something almost there. I think it's gonna require some extra prompts along the way. It has an interesting feature that you can import from Figma. I never used it. I'm not a great Figma editor myself, not a great designer. But I think this could be an interesting thing to play around with, but I'm not gonna be using it. But yeah, I think this is gonna be an okay job. And I think Bolt might be maybe the best place to start if you have no idea where to go. But stay around, I have some interesting other tools. Then I have 3 tools which honestly I haven't played with yet. And I think they are quite similar, quite generic and bland. They might be an amazing tool. I don't know. But they're just like more generic tools. There's Replit. I think Replit is trying to move away from being just the 0 to 1 phase and more kind of like a cursor pair programming, kind of like IDE but on the web. But still I'm gonna use it mostly for the app building part. And there's also Emergent and Builder.io. I think these all are kind of like similar to Bolt. I don't know how they will perform. We'll see. Then we have, which honestly is the tool that made me really, really excited on this field, which is Leap. And Leap is really interesting compared to all the other ones that we looked so far, because it builds on top of an interesting framework called Encore. So if I go to encore.dev, so Encore started as a Go framework, but also has a TypeScript framework. I even use Encore Go in my day-to-day job. But the beautiful thing about Encore is that it abstracts away database, PubSub, and all these other like infrastructure requirements that we might have. And the reason why this is interesting is because if infrastructure becomes parts of your code, which you can do with like Terraform and whatnot, but by making it part of the code, the AI can not only develop the app, but also the infrastructure definition which makes it much easier to go from idea to production. So I was playing around with this and I created an app for my wife so fast and with really good quality. And also this is also a microservice kind of framework. And I think it can be used to create really, really well architected applications. So this is the one that I'm most excited about. And I'm gonna see how it compares to the other ones. But I think this is gonna do a great job. I don't think the UI generates is the best, or I don't know, I think it's all right. So I think this is gonna be the best performer in terms of architecture and backend and the design of the system, but I don't think it's gonna do a great job on the front end. Then we have two tools that I think are the most well suited for mobile first applications. There is Firebase Studio and Dreamflow. I think Firebase Studio is going to be kind of the more generic tool. It does not only do, it's not really just for mobile, but it has an Android simulator as it seems, and it seems to be marketing as an interesting thing to do mobile applications, which also kind of like fits with the Firebase idea. Firebase is used on a lot of mobile applications, but the one that I'm most interested on is Dreamflow. So Dreamflow is the AI tool created by the folks that developed Flow. And what I think it makes Dreamflow one of the most interesting and different tools out there is because it is also a visual kind of editor for flooded applications. I looked I took a look on their promotional video and was mind blown by the editing powers. So I think this might be great for you first generate something with AI and then you tweak the appearance to how you like it. And I think this is really, really interesting. Really high hopes for mobile applications in Dreamflow. Finally, we have a tool that I don't think is well known, and when I played around with it, I was not that happy, honestly. But I have to include because a big chunk of my career was doing Elixir development, and this is the only one focused on, well, Elixir and Phoenix. So I'm really excited for that. But the little that I play with that, I don't have my expectations that high. I think if this gets good, it can be a really interesting thing for anything that relies on real-time interactions. But my initial take is that it's not that good. But I hope that I can get surprised. I don't know, just by doing it again. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna start with V0. For all of these tools, I will be using the free credits that I got. And if needed, I'm gonna upgrade the plan. I'm gonna pay that all with my money. So yeah, please subscribe and help me so I can pay that off. But yeah, let's see how it goes. So this is gonna take a while and we're gonna get back as soon as it's done. Well, now I'm gonna go quite crazy and I'm just going to send the same prompt on all the tools that I have to see if I can use the free credits. So yeah, let's just send it on all of them. Bolt.new, build it. Replit, build it. Emergent, build it. Build.io. Oh, I'm gonna do that later. Sorry, just signed in. I don't know. I'm gonna look at that later. Leap, build it. Dreamflow, build it. Firebase Studio, build it. Phoenix.new, and I have to add credits. So I'll be right back for those two, for Phoenix.new and Build.io. So Build.io asked me a lot of questions, like the type of content that I was going to. I select the first one, was the Fusion workspace. With the tech stack, I was really thinking about going with Svelte, but I think to give, the same kind of chance, I think I'm gonna select React, just so it's similar. Honestly, I would love to build Svelte applications instead, but I want things to be as similar as possible, and there's probably much more information on React out there. So yeah, build it. Let's see how that goes. I'm just gonna send these and see if it helps me go through the process of adding more credits. Okay, so this is me from the future. I'm recording this because I realized that things was not as easy as I expected. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start with the tools that the experience was just really, really bad. Uh, and these are V0 and Bolt. They kind of like just went all nuts and a bunch of things. So first of all, V0, the first thing it did was, it had the connection like with, I could set up an integration with Supabase, for example. But annoyingly, the code that was generated was assuming SQLite and not Postgres. And then I had to say, hey, you have to fix that. And then it kind of worked, but then it didn't work that well. And then it just went in this weird loop where I just couldn't make it work. I don't know. It was just a really, really bad experience. Bolt was having a lot of trouble also with Supabase to understand row level security, to the point that I couldn't register because the I couldn't even try the application because the first interaction, which was signing up or sending the email, wouldn't work. So it got lost on this really simple requirement. And yeah, I guess there are ways you can use Bolt or V0 in ways that you can, you understand it limitations. And again, this was my first time doing like a big project on those. My first time doing anything on Bolt other than just playing around, and my first time doing something on V0 that was a big project. But this was completely failure, and honestly, I'm just gonna board. I might try using them more in the future. I paid for for both, so I'm gonna try to use that a little bit more. But yeah, so those are the two tools that were really, really bad. Okay, another note from the future. I think this is another one that I don't think is good enough compared to the other ones, which is Builder.io. It was way better than my experience with Bolt and V0, but it created so much fake UI. Like at first, all I could do was sign up and create an organization and then submit an expense. But everything else was mocked, and then it makes for the experience to be quite like unpredictable. I think it's doable and you can work around it, but like view all expenses. What does button even do? It had like a bunch of things like manage policies, manage it, team. It wasn't working. I had to ask it to create this thing. So manage team doesn't work yet, but manage category now works. But then I tried to create a category like travel. Yeah, it just fails, and I have to debug. And like the amount of like messages I have to send compared to the other ones, yeah, it's not is not there yet. I don't think it was a great experience. I think it faked a lot of things instead of starting with a smaller uh, thing that was working and then slowly adding working features. I think it's workable, but it was just not as good when compared to Lovable or other like Replit, for example. So the first thing that Lovable asked me to do was to connect to Supabase. So I read the docs, I created a project there. I'm going to connect with Supabase. Let's connect Supabase. Yeah, authorize everything. I don't have anything that important there. Perfect. Continue. So this is the project that I created. Connect. Perfect. Oh, it's already working now. So I'm gonna be back soon. Right, let's see what Lovable did. So it took a few iterations. So I had to, ask for a few follow-ups. There were some bugs, but honestly, it was mostly a seamless experience. I was surprised. And this is using Supabase in the background for the API. I think it's using row level security as well. It was actually quite a good enough experience. Almost all the features are working. There are some issues that a lot of them also had, like the policies, maximum max amount is not accounting for everything. the expense approval. Well, the view expenses is doesn't filter by the user or by who has to approve. It's just this big list of all the expenses for an organization. But honestly, I think it's all right for a fast prototype. I think it didn't took me more than 1 hour to do this. Yeah, so I was able to invite this other user. I can approve things here because I'm the approver. I can check the policy. The policy debug is a little bit weird because it's only for the current user. I wanted to be able to select which user to debug the policy, but this is good enough. And if I invite someone like, I don't know, subscriber at example.com, that's a reminder to subscribe. Oh, that's not join organization, sorry. It's members. Here we go, subscribe. And then when I go here and do subscriber example.com, this is a weird thing because I have to create my own organization. The onboarding of new members is not great, but let's just call suborg, whatever. I can see the pending invitation here, so I can join. It's a little bit weird. I don't know if I can put another email here. Yeah, the logic's not perfect, but the overall structure is, which I think is a good thing for setting things up. Again, I can see all the expenses on my org, which I'm not an admin. But honestly, I'm surprised. I think Lovable did a great job for 1 hour playing around, and I'm pretty sure that if I really wanted, I could tune this to something useful. So yeah, really surprised. Let's take a look at how Replit is doing, and it has this interesting UI for the plan that it's gonna do. Interesting that it already have a visual preview. Is this just like this actual code, or is just like an image generated with like a, I don't know. It's interesting because I don't know if it started coding already. Maybe this is just generating an image for the reference. Interesting. All right, I'm going to approve the plan. I'm just gonna trust it and see how that goes. Oh, it actually already has the UI, which is honestly looking quite good. Yeah, let's see how that goes. I am really surprised because Replit did the most nice looking UI of all of them. There's a bunch of like fake data here, which honestly can be sometimes a little bit misleading when you're prototyping something, because I don't know, is this real data? What is it? Where is the number coming from? I don't know, because this seems like real data of all the things here, but yeah, it has a lot of things, and I'm not sure which one of those is actually true. This average review time doesn't make a lot of sense. But honestly, it was a really interesting UI, and it is kind of working. I'm logged in. I don't know as Bernardo at, and then I think I can invite other people. So I can invite subscriber at example.com. Can send the invite. I can come here, log out. Can I log out? I don't know. Oh, I can't log out. But yeah, I can invite other people, but I can't seem to change the. Maybe if I open this in a new tab. All right, let's just log in here. So subscriber at example.com. So I can see I can submit an expense here. Let's do today amount 12 meals. So yeah, so this is weird, like pending auto approved. I don't think this is the most functional one, but at least the UI was really good, and it didn't had a lot of like hiccups. I had to ask for a few bugs, or some bugs with like I wasn't being able to see some of the things here. Yeah, I'm not sure. Some of the policies are a little bit weird. So yeah, the policy policy here, I cannot seem to create the user-specific policies, which was one of the requirements. But again, honestly, I think this is a great job of bootstrapping something, and I'm pretty sure I could, slowly build out all the features here. So yeah, good job, Replit. Not my favorite in terms of like functionality, but at least the how it works is nice. And I think the app is interesting because you can see like databases. It has its own like database thing. You can see the data. So it's all like built in. It seems it's using Neon, but I think this is a great experience, especially if I was someone that knew nothing about that. Having something with like real databases and whatnot, I think is really interesting. So I think the organization of the code is actually quite nice. I think there's some stuff that could be better, but honestly, really good stuff. Okay, so Emergent surprised me. I didn't knew a lot about it. Honestly, I had almost no interaction with it. I just sent the thing and then it did its stuff. And a lot of the things are kind of working. I'm not even sure, like, what should I look at? But I'm logged in already. Let me log out. So if I log in, I can log in. Again, this is the fake login that I asked. I can create organizations. I can see I already created one. Go here. I can set up the policies and categories, and I can set like I can add a policy. That there's some weird stuff going on, so this is not the best experience. Like the user, I need the user ID, but I have no way to know the user ID. I don't know how to invite other users, so there are some things that were left that are not great. I don't know, like I tried, manually hard coding 1 and 2 as a reviewer to see if that would work. But honestly, if I add a policy, so any policy here, like so mu and x, so 2 different categories with 2 different things. If I try to send an expense for any of those, both of them are gonna show up for me to review. So yeah, so that's likely not even being used, this reviewer ID thing here. But this was one prompt, and this is where I think this compared to the others, it was quite cool because I don't think any of the others had a working ish application from the first prompt. All of them had a few bigger issues, not missing features or something. I think this is missing a lot of features. But if I was trying to, do a proof of concept and demo to someone that wanted this MVP, I would likely have something like that in the first few hours. So I think it's promising. I want to play a little bit more around with that, but I'm already tired. But yeah, I think this was good for one prompt. So I would give that to Emergent. So yeah, really surprised by it. As you can see, it was really just one prompt. It used a lot of the free credits. But yeah, I could likely just come here and ask it to implement proper user invitation, for example. And maybe this is going to be enough. I don't know. But honestly, I'm surprised. I think Emergent did an interesting job, especially for the two that I haven't ever heard about it. So that's interesting. Okay, so we're gonna take a look at one that I have mixed feelings. I think it did almost really good, but then it fails in places that was really hard to even understand what's happening. I don't know if this is an issue with Leap or with the encore.ts library or where things are wrong, but it has a lot of cool stuff going on for it. So Leap has this thing where it shows the these different types of how the microservices are organized. This is sharing a database, which might not be the best architectural decision. I honestly would if it had different microservices. It gives us like an interesting service catalog. It doesn't seem to be using proper alt, which is a feature that it supports, like an alt handler. And setups, all the infrastructure has a lot going on. And I had other projects that I developed on Leap, and I had really good experience with. But on this one, I'm hanging on a really, really weird issue. So you can see, I mean, I can register. So let's see, subscriber at example.com. So my name is subscriber. It kind of like, it's an interesting thing. You can create organizations, and I can create categories. Travel, news. So there's a lot of things working on here. Other sub at example.com. I think I can send invitations. Not sure exactly how that works out. Maybe if I go to other sub at example.com. Oh yeah, pending invitation, I can join. So that's working. So it did a really good job on organizing the application. But then if I come here, and of course this is a weird signing. But when I try to create policies, this just fall apart. And this is such a core thing. And I asked it to solve, and I don't even know what is the issue. So 200, it just fails with this really cryptic thing. Cannot convert between the Rust type. I'm not even using Rust, but I know in core the runtime is written in Rust, and the Postgres type numeric. So there's something likely on the NCore framework that is, I don't know, something is off. And I try like fix with Leap. It just doesn't work. There's some weirder bug. So yeah, this is where it gets me, because I was really excited by the quality of the whole thing, the login, the UI, the invitation. Everything was really good. Like things to review, like this was good. But then I just can't set up the policies, and then it defeats the whole purpose. And yeah, something weird is going on, and I tried. I gave it a few shots. I even decided to, maybe I'm gonna architect my way around it, because it's using like raw queries. And I tried, maybe if I go with like some Kaiserly or something to have like type things. I couldn't make it work that easily. It tried this thing here, converting to string, and then doing something here. Honestly, I don't know what's going on. I would likely require to go to like Discord or something. So yeah, so this is what it leaves me. Leap, really, really promising. The architecture of it all, like the idea that we can have multiple databases, multiple services, we can fragment it. We have this, the tooling around it is really cool. The result, organization wise, was one of the best. But yeah, this bug just makes me kind of sad that this is how it turned out. I'm gonna keep trying on future videos to use Leap, but yeah, so far not the best one. All right, let's see what Dreamflow did for us. Okay, so I created some demo users. Interesting. Does it have any? Let's go with admin at techcorp.com. Overflowed by 1. Okay, some weird errors. Admin. Okay, interesting. It's the first mobile UI that I saw from the stuff that we're doing. So, okay, it creates some category. Can I create a new category? Let's do, I don't know, gaming, whatever. Buy games and have fun. Create category. Then I have policies. Okay, the UI is horrible, but okay, this is manual and then okay. Add policy. Let's do for gaming. Let's do, we can spend $50. Oh, okay. Interesting. Can pick the user here. Let's say it's auto approve. Create policy. I mean, the UI is not the prettiest, but I mean, it is a working mobile app. All right. Let's see, John developer, how much you can spend on gaming. That's quite cool. Okay. All right. Members, can I invite a new user? Bernardo at techcorp.com. Send invitation. Okay. Or is already a member. All right. Okay, let me try to do something else. Let's come here. Let's log out. Register. Bernardo at techcorp.com. My name is Bernardo. Register. All right. So yeah, there are some bugs, but honestly, this is the best I've seen so far. All right, let's see what Firebase did. So it came up with a plan, and I think this plan is actually really interesting. It says which AI is going to be using, what is going to be the UI. It's going to be TypeScript, Next.js, and Tailwind. Interesting. Okay, I'm just going to prototype this app. Let's see how that goes. Okay, so Firebase Studio now did something. Let's see how it goes. Oh, I need a Gemini API key. Oh, wait a second. Wait, no, it cannot be that. AI identifies a relevant policy. Okay, this is a flex, Google. This is a flex. Let me try without that first. Let's see if it works. Example.com. Oh, okay. I have a few demo users here. No, not quite working, is it? Okay, it was just slow. All right. Okay, the app is really slow. Okay, let me open this in a new tab. Okay, the app is horribly slow. Okay, so these are expenses. Policies. Okay, let's go with policies. AI policy generator, come on, this is just a flex. Okay, I will have to generate a key for Gemini just to see what it does. How do I create a new policy? Maybe in settings. Okay, add category. Okay, let's try another at reimbursewise.com. And with categories, let's add a new category. Let's do gaming. Buy some games, man. All right. We can add categories, policies. Gaming, generate policy. Yeah, this is likely gonna fail. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna set up a Gemini API key just to see how absurd this is. Okay, I don't think it's saving things properly. Add category, gaming, go play. If I come here to expense policies, gaming, generate policy. This is so silly. But it's just like I can't even like it. It did the most complicated stuff. Okay, honestly, I like it, but it's not a great product. Like, I can even like, how can I should be able to add like a policy. Okay, I just have to test all the things, but I mean the basic stuff is missing, right? I should have a way to generate a policy without using AI shenanigans. But let's just try to do this mules. I mean, yeah, this is definitely wrong. Uh, but yeah, honestly, I like it. Like, let's do education. Education. Do like courses, trainings, conferences, etc. And let's come here. Education, generate policy. It picked like a reviewer, like okay, but it's not actually. uh, all right, let's try to debug some of this stuff. Okay, let's log in as Charlie, the contractor, and see if I can submit up to 150. Okay, what happens if I try to expand something? Let's do Muse and do like 90. Okay, submit expense. Submitted. There was an error. Okay. Oh, it's not saving anything anywhere. Okay, interesting. Yeah, it has some AI shenanigans, but it doesn't have a real database, as it seems. Okay. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. It is some interesting stuff, but I don't think it's there yet. Okay, let's see what Phoenix.new did. There's a landing page, but the links doesn't work that well. But I think it's a good start. But then there's this register thing here on top. I think this is using Phoenix GenAuth. So let's go with example.com, create an account. An email was sent. Okay, I think you might have something like, this requires just some knowledge. Let's see if there's a dev mailbox. Okay, yeah. /dev/mailbox. Okay. Okay, interesting. Okay, good start. Settings maybe? No. Okay, some weird stuff going on. Like the UI is all over the place. There's some logic in the back end. But I need to always be looking at this thing here. I don't think it generated. Yeah, it just generated the login part. So I'm just gonna build the live views. Let me see what it generated files. Sorry. Lib expense tracker policies. Okay, create the models for the policies. Let's just ask for build the live views and see what it does. So just to report how it's been to work with Phoenix.new a little bit, I think it takes it is quite like slower than other tools to do things, but it does so in a maybe more organized way. But it becomes more of this interactive approach, which has pros and cons. While most other tools they created a lot of functional things right out of the bat, even though with some weird bugs and whatnot. Phoenix.new is more like, oh, I do this thing first, and then it says, hey, what do you want me to do next? So I had to click on these suggestions of what to do next a few times, and it's not even like complete, I would say. Yeah, for example, recently it was not showing the new expense page. Now it's showing, but now create organization. So see, there's no route for creating an organization. I don't know. It seems a little bit weird, and I might need to ask it to do that, and then it feels quite cumbersome. Not liking the experience that much. Okay, so this was an interesting experiment. It didn't turn out how I planned it to go. I My previous experience with Leap on another project made me much more excited about these types of AI tools, but maybe I was lucky in the project that I was developing. Maybe because I was so focused on one tool for one job for one thing, the experience was better. I think I think the initial prompt was maybe too big, maybe too ambitious, which made some of the AI tools just either fake a bunch of things or just, get nothing working. When you're trying to do an MVP and then you don't build anything because you're trying to build everything at the same time. I think if I would do it again, I would change my approach, and I likely want to do that in other videos. But overall, it was interesting. I think some interesting realizations was first how Lovable did an actually way better job than I expected with the backend setup. The way it set it up, Superbase, I think is an interesting, powerful combination. I'm always skeptical of just AI on Superbase and hoping for the best because of all the Postgres row level security, how it can be complex. But honestly, Lovable did an amazing job. So that was one of the surprises. The other one was Leap, that I had high hopes because of my previous experience. I was disappointed on these small issues. They are one of the newest tools out there, so I still think there's potential. I'm going to report the bug that I had on Discord, see if I can get some help there. I Firebase Studio was just nuts. Like I at least it gave me a good laugh. I don't know. I just think it made it look much more for a toy project rather than actually building a product. Like I don't even know where it got. I don't remember of talking about AI generated things here, and then it just added a bunch of AI generated things. I was surprised that it integrated with Gemini. I mean, it's Google selling their own things. So it was interesting in a way. So maybe if I was building something fancy for AI, I would give this a try because the integration was so seamless. Uh, but where did you took these AI things from? I had that on another prompt that I even didn't even got to. So this was weird. And yeah, I think Dreamflow was really interesting. Not the best UI generated, but I think it's an interesting step in that direction. I'm definitely gonna play more with Dreamflow for mobile applications. Uh, but yeah, honestly, I think Replit, Lovable, and maybe Emergent were the best middle ground. Like they did a good overall job, and this was a surprise for me. I didn't even expected Replit to do a good job. I think this was the best UI. Emergent was the best initial first prompt. That's why I even left it at. I mean, now I used all my budget trying to do the second feature, but I didn't pay for anything, so that's good. And Lovable, I was just surprised on how well it did. It took a few prompts, but it was really good. Phoenix.new did an okay job. I think you know, it requires a lot of like yes proceed, and this is not great. It felt more like a pair programming tool, but with a really bad IDE in it. So I'm unsure whether I want to use something like that or just do a Phoenix new and then have like Claude Code pair program with me. Maybe that would be a better thing. So I'm not sold on the idea of the Phoenix.new product so far. Again, new entrant as an Elixir developer for a big chunk of my career. I'm excited for that. But yeah, was weird. I had some weird feelings here. It did a great job. I think to give credits where it's due, I think this was one of the best organization. It just followed like the Phoenix way of doing things with context and whatnot. So if I go to policies, it has a nice entry point for that. So the organization of the domain layer, and this was ready, I think, in the first prompt, and then all the other prompts just to generate the UI. I think it was really good. I think it did better than I expected and better than I had in my previous experience with Phoenix.new. So that was exciting. So honestly, I'm gonna end the video because I'm already tired. I've been doing this the whole day. I think for next video, maybe I should just focus on one tool and try to build one thing. Let me know in the comments what you think. If someone is watching this, thank you so much, especially if you stuck through the end. And yeah, I hope that I have more energy to record more videos like this. And yeah, thank you so much for listening and joining here. I appreciate you. See ya.